Now, should councils be allowed to raise tax by 25%? By law, local authorities are allowed to raise it by up to 5%, but 8 struggling councils are saying, oh, we can't do that. And there's a loophole. If they declare themselves bankrupt, they are allowed to bling in bigger tax rises. In one area under Windsor and Maidenhead, it might be 25%, which is roughly an extra £451 per household on average. 7 others are looking at an increase of 10 to 15%. This is weird, Albie. It's almost like they've suddenly cottoned on, isn't it?
We've got to ask the question, why are they doing this? And I'm not normally a person that would argue in favour of tax rises, but we've got to ask why they're doing this. Now, in 2010, out of every pound, 40p that goes to council tax, 40p was spent on social care by councils. Today, nearly 60p of that pound is spent on social care, and that's as a direct result of our ageing population. And age-related spending will go up as a result. The reason council tax has had to go up so much and will have to go up so much is because of the age-related spending. So if we say no, council tax shouldn't rise, then who's paying for all of the carers that look after our elderly people that make up lots of this spend?
Yeah, the government forces councils to do things, but restricts the amount they can raise to pay for them.
Exactly, so that's another reason. So you've got these government-mandated, sort of unfunded projects that local authorities have to do, and they just haven't got the funds for it. Then you've got over the 14 years of Conservative government, they saw cuts of between 40 and 70%. So it's no wonder that so many are going bankrupt. But this sort of arbitrary rise of 25% is wrong. And in fact, I've said this for a while now. There are other experts and the Institute for Fiscal Studies. We need to start being really sensible about council tax, because it is arbitrary, it is regressive, and it is unfair. You have got Buckingham Palace that pays a yearly council tax of £1,800 there or thereabouts.
Is it? What?
£1,800.
With 775 bedrooms?
Yes, this is a property worth £1 billion, roughly, paying £1,800 a year. That is more than your average 3-bed semi in Blackpool. That shows you how out of touch and how not fit for purpose our council tax system is. We need reform.
Buckingham Palace is never a good example of anything, is it? Because there aren't any.
It doesn't matter.
There are no other properties.
I think the point you're making
is an extra band at the top
about council tax bans being completely out of kilter with house prices. When council tax bans were set, I think it was
30 years ago.
Yeah, it was in 1991 is when council tax bans were set, when property prices were completely different. They've not been updated since then. So you've got situations where in the most expensive part of London, you can have families paying minimal council tax, whereas in other parts of the country where property prices are much lower, they're paying more council tax. So council tax bans needs to be changed. But whenever this is proposed, council taxpayers, voters, everyone at home, gets angry about it, so it never happens.
Let's go to Dave in Manchester. Dave, what about this as an idea, allowing councils to do these whopping rises if they need to?
I think a resounding no. I'm afraid it's happened again. I'm sorry. I'm getting an echo.
Oh, are you? Listen, we'll turn it down at our end. We heard the resounding no. How is the echo now, Dave?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm still getting it.
Okay, try this. Talk. Move the phone away from your ear. When you finish talking, say over and move it back.
Well, I'm trying. What I'm saying is that the 25% increase eliminates the single person's allowance at one step. You know, so I think there's internal economics in here, because councils can use their cash reserves. In Manchester, we've got the Metro Mayor. We've got more and more people coming to the city paying their council tax, and there's businesses coming in, so there's more business rates. I think there's scope there for increasing council funds, including the old chestnut of the councils being allowed to keep more of the money coming from council house
Yeah.
sale.
All right, Dave. Brilliant. You didn't say over, though, so I had to interrupt. Thank you. James in Liverpool, hi.
Hi, panel. I don't believe that they should be able to raise it. They raise it enough, people pay enough. But I think people should pay for the services that they actually use. I mean, I haven't seen a street cleaner for over 5 years. I've had issues with our library, our local library is closed, our local parish is closed. The police, they're supposed to get services from the police. I had to report my daughter as a missing person at one point. I got no help. I had an animal stolen. They said it was a civil matter. There was nothing they could do with it. My daughter's ex-boyfriend had his bike stolen from my property. They said that they would be 24 to 48 hours. I actually had... reported somebody urinating in the street,
Right.
Not a British nationality, sorry, but I rang them up to report this person urinating in the street, and they asked me what the problem was, whereas if I would have been doing that, I would have been, it's wrong to do it anyway.
Yeah, it is against the law to do that, yeah, unless they're a truck driver.
Yeah, but again, the services that we actually receive, a lot of these services, there's nothing available for me anymore.
I mean, James, the defence is that you're missing out on libraries and street cleaning, but when you are an old man, the council will have a care home place for you. That's what we've got to believe. That's where the money is going. Once that stops happening, then it's game over, isn't it?
We get our bins emptied. That's basically the only service
that's all you're going to get.
I get.
Yeah.
Unless I'm living in a hotel, I get everything paid for me. Then our pensioners don't get anything. If I come over, I'll get everything paid for in the hotel, and I don't have to pay council tax.
Understood. Thank you very much, James. There was a lot there. Pete in Lincolnshire, hi.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hello. So
I disagree completely with this increase.
Now, are they trying to increase it where you are, Pete, or not?
Well, put it this way: they say they haven't got enough money, and yet Boston Council in Lincolnshire have just agreed to give themselves a 400% pay rise.
Who? What? The council officers?
The council themselves.
The council...
Boston Council have given themselves a 400% pay rise.
I didn't think councils don't get paid, though, do they, Albie? What's it expenses or what?
That seems like a really large sum if that is what's actually happened. But Pete, there will be cases of councils mismanaging funds across the country that people will pick out and argue that they're spending money in the wrong way. But the real issue is the fact that the social care bill for councils has gone up 20% in 10 years. And that is where the big expenses are going. Now, I completely understand that people get angry when councils mismanage money, and they do. I think they're paid too much. They're not efficient enough. But really, we need to be talking about what they're really spending money on, and that's 60% on adult social care.
Well, I suppose, Pete, that the issue here, as Albie says, is how we sort out social care for the country so we don't end up bankrupting councils.
Well,
there's no
surely,
solution.
if they only took a 25% pay rise, then you could understand it. But if they're taking a 400% pay rise, then that's when it goes out the window.
But who is they? Is it the council officers or the council?
The council themselves. It just said, it came on the news this morning, it just said, the council in Boston have just given themselves a 400% pay rise.
And apparently, I'm hearing from producer Lauren that you're absolutely right, and they say it's the elected members who say that it is justified given the amount of work they do. So...
Very tone deaf. When people are so angry with their public services that they're getting from councils, not getting bins collected, etc.
It's not 400% for everyone, but that is fine. It's basically, if you were earning £10, you're now going to get 50. Thank you, Pete. Anne in Birmingham, hi. Hello, Anne.
Hello.
I'm glad we got a call from Birmingham because your city was the first to say we can't pay for what and just go bankrupt, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, are they threatening you now with these big rises?
Oh, yes, and it's absolutely ridiculous. How can a council go bankrupt and nobody's been held accountable? Nobody's lost their job. They brought receivers in. That was it.
Yeah, it was an
ridiculous.
equal pay thing. They managed to get an equal pay judgment against them for underpaying women, and they then incredibly did it again. I mean, it's just you can't make it up. Marina, what do you think?
No.
But it's maybe we need to start doing this thing where we jail people if they run a business into the ground like that.
I do think that this sort of mismanagement of public finances does need to be punished at local authority level and at government level. But this isn't what, you know, we need to think bigger about this. And again, I'm just go back to we need to reform council tax because the people that can't afford it get stung. And then actually, I think there are better ways to raise...
Everyone would end up paying more. They get stung even more.
No, they wouldn't. So, for example, like you've got... Think about in London alone, right? Think about some of the property prices. They're paying the same as other properties that aren't worth even like an eighth
but
of that
London
amount.
is atypical. I mean,
doesn't matter. We should be paying our fair share. No, but I think there are ways. So, for example, if you increased council tax rates by 50% on those highest value properties, you would raise 3.5 billion.
Oh, I see. So you put an extra band in for the super rich.
Oh, yes, and also I think higher council tax for empty properties, higher council tax for second, third, fourth. Maybe it could be, you know, additional properties for properties that are borne by foreigners. You basically have to.
What Marina is arguing for is what we would call a Buckingham band. So it's the Buckingham band, or the Purkiss band or whatever, is the extra band on top that is there to simply slaughter the rich. So if you're caught with an extra window or whatever it is you don't like, we know what this is about.
Slaughter the rich.
Yes, because you simply say,
Eat the rich.
Your house is worth $2 million. You currently pay $2,000. We're putting it up to $10,000 because you can
double
afford
it. There you go, double it.
There aren't enough £2 million houses to make that worth it. You have to properly go for them.
No, there are.
You're going to. Can you answer that without saying the word London?
Sorry,
Cheshire.
Sorry, Cheshire.
House prices in this country have changed dramatically since 1991, and council tax bands have not changed since 1991. People both on the left and right in politics think we should change council tax bands.
Janet in Lancashire, hi. What do you think about this?
I think the councils need to come up with some common sense, and I think there's too many people doing one job. As an example, for us, on our farm, we have a bridle way running through it, and somebody had complained about the hinge on the gate not hanging, and so they couldn't swing the gate to get through with their horse. So a gentleman came from the council and told me that somebody had a complaint, and I could see it was just a gudgeon coming off the hinge.
Do it yourself.
And I said to him, he said, do you want me to get the blacksmith out for that? And I said, no, I can do that. And he went, and I did it in about a minute and a half, just rehanging this gate. But he was going to send a blacksmith. He was there looking at it. He could have done the job. And I think that's the problem with the council, is that with too many people going to look at the job, going to tell who wants to do the job, and same as with the roads, it takes about 3 or 4 visits of people putting a line round the pothole to show them which pothole it is. And I just think, can people not see when there's a damn pothole in road?
You should be running everything. Honestly, that's such a great call. Well done on rehanging the gate, minute and a half. And you're absolutely right, the blacksmith would turn up, he'd probably bring his brother, they'd call somebody else. A year later, it's still not done. Thanks, Janet. Later, it's the papers and everything else, including the latest...